Welcome to AZPM News Daily, a wrap-up of all the day's news from Arizona Public Media. I'm Steve Jess. And on today's podcast, the sheriff denies keeping the FBI out of the loop in the Guthrie investigation.
The department told AZPM that the FBI was plugged in the night of Guthrie's disappearance.
Tucsonans gather to talk about gun violence.
We're providing resources on what already exists in the community.
And a look at the role of roots in plant survival.
It helps the plant very early on, in the first few days already, to establish itself and to grow.
That's ahead for this Friday, July 14th. First up today, the Pima County Sheriff's Department is disputing claims by FBI Director Kash Patel that the FBI was kept out of the Nancy Guthrie investigation for 4 days. Katya Mendoza reports.
Patel told Fox News this week that the delay may have resulted in the loss of crucial video evidence from Guthrie's Nest doorbell camera. Guthrie did not have a cloud subscription, which means footage automatically deletes to make space for new recordings. Investigators were able to recover some footage that were released to the public on February 10th, showing a masked suspect at Guthrie's door. The Pima County Sheriff's Department told AZPM that the FBI was plugged in the night of Guthrie's disappearance, and that claiming otherwise is inaccurate. The 84-year-old mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie was reported missing on February 1st. I'm Katya Mendoza, AZPM News.
A Russian asylum seeker detained last month by immigration officials in Tucson has left the United States. The 23-year-old named Vlad was arrested in Tucson on June 26th and spent most of his detention at the ICE facility in Florence. Vlad's wife, Andrea Landavazo, tells AZPM that Vlad called her Monday evening from the airport, claiming he was pressured by immigration authorities into voluntarily returning to Russia. In a statement to AZPM, though, ICE said Vlad did not choose voluntary departure and was instead deported. Vlad initially sought asylum in the United States over his opposition to Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. County and city officials hosted a panel Thursday on efforts to quell gun violence in the wake of last weekend's mass shooting in downtown Tucson. The city's mayor, police chief, county attorney, and former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords addressed media and several dozen community members at El Rio Neighborhood Center. Tucson resident Mariah Quinn says she felt the panel discussion was a step in the right direction.
I think what they have going on today is good. You know, we're having community forums, we're having listening sessions, we're letting community ask questions, we're providing resources on what already exists in the community.
Pima County Attorney Laura Conover says her office hopes to distribute up to 17,000 more gun locks this year, and the office is hiring 2 new domestic violence prosecutors. Conover's office has faced scrutiny over the shooting suspect David French, who had 1 felony conviction prior to Sunday's shooting. French had previously pleaded guilty to firing a weapon during an altercation and had been placed on probation. He now faces 19 criminal charges related to Sunday's shooting. The Pima County Recorder says a new ballot verification method did not save time in ballot processing. Katya Mendoza has more.
The recorder says the ID-verified early ballot drop-off system created additional steps and delayed vote processing. The intention of the system was to help speed up the tabulation process for ballots turned in on Election Day by bypassing the signature verification step that's completed by the recorder's office after ballots are dropped off. The recorder says that the office implemented this option during the countywide Regional Transportation Authority election in March, and it had received many complaints about how voters were approached with the ID Verify option. Some voters felt singled out, discriminated against, or even racially profiled. On Election Day, the Elections Department ID verified about 6,000 ballots. I'm Katya Mendoza, AZPM News.
State and federal officials are trying to figure out why over 900 early ballots were not delivered to Navajo County voters ahead of the July 21st primary. Wayne Schutzke has that story.
New Navajo County Recorder David Marshall informed the Board of Supervisors about the issue at a July 14th meeting. Marshall blamed the United States Postal Service for the incident, saying the ballots were returned to the county as undeliverable, which typically means a voter's mailing address is not correct. But he said the recorder's office ran the addresses through verification systems before sending them.
So the addresses, 99% of them are accurate according to our system, but we don't understand why they're not reaching their homes.
The Postal Service is investigating the incident. Marshall told the county supervisors his office sent out letters to the affected households, but it's unclear how many of those voters were able to cast a ballot by other means, such as showing up on Election Day. Wayne Schutzke, Phoenix.
The State Department of Health Services says it has confirmed a case of a particular variant of Mpox known as Clade 1 in an Arizona resident traveling outside the U.S. Dr. Joel Triquez is with DHS. He says they were notified this month and there's no evidence of the illness spreading in the state.
Based on the rarity of this Clade 1 Mpox case and the fact that it was travel-related with no significant complications, the overall risk for the general population is extremely low.
There are two types of Mpox, Clade 1 and the more common Clade 2, which has been spreading across Arizona and the U.S. since 2022. Both types cause similar symptoms, including rash, fever, headaches, and swollen lymph nodes. Researchers are discovering ways plants adapt for survival in harsh environments like the southern Arizona desert. Tony Perkins reports.
According to University of Arizona plant scientist Alexander Buch, some plants get a literal foothold on life by using cells in their roots that form tiny hooks. Those cells go on to collect nutrients and regulate water to feed the plant during its most critical moments.
It helps the plant very early on in the first few days already to establish itself and to grow, even if the environment might be not that favorable.
Buch is currently studying the roots of common bean plants. He's hoping the result will be more climate-resistant crops and less dependence on fertilizer. I'm Tony Perkins, AZPM News.
Hear more about that on Arizona Science. You can find it as a podcast on our website. And now you're caught up on the stories we've covered today at Arizona Public Media. Thanks for listening. You can subscribe to AZPM News Daily wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Jess, and we'll be back after the weekend.